Hey guys, and welcome back to a new accumulation zone trade recap. Today we are going to be recapping all the potential trades that you could have taken across our watch list right here. That's the watch list we are going to go through today during the London session, because today we have a US bank holiday on Monday the 20th of February. Alright guys, so let's get started with the price action today on the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index here on a 5-minute 8-cap chart. So we got our first entry opportunity right here below the VWAP, this blue line, by the Session Pro indicator with all the correct settings, GMT -5. We opened up at 2 AM with this momentum candle to the downside with a stochastic RSI crossover as well. So all the short entry rules basically have been met right here on this 2 AM candle close. So I entered into this position right here with my stop loss at the most recent swing high just here, but we did not see any momentum continuation to the downside after 2 AM New York local time. We basically formed a doji signaling indecision right here, followed by another one. Then we started to pull back above the VWAP already, where we actually changed the candle color based on the Scalper Pro, and then we continued working our way towards the current high of the day here from the early Asian session. And this might very likely is going to be different from broker to broker. I'm pretty sure that on some exchanges or brokers we actually took out that current high of the day right here at 240. And then it hit 255 and we just consolidated around this level. London opened up at 3 AM New York local time with a momentum shifting candle to the downside right here with a close below the VWAP. Our stochastic RSI also crossed over 1, 2, 3, 4 candles ago. With those dojis signaling indecision, I counted it as a valid trade entry. I placed my stop loss at the current high of the day for a 22.7 pip stop loss right here. And then the trade moved into our direction to our break-even point at 1 to 1.5 risk to reward, from where it unfortunately pulled back to our entry, making this trade a break-even trade. We went back above the VWAP right here, this blue line, and we had a beautiful rejection wick to the upside once and twice actually right here. We formed a sort of a pin bar right here on this candle at 405. And that's also where timing comes in. So with the 4 AM candle, we very likely took out, for example, a short like me. I already moved my stop loss to break even. We took out those early shorts who had the right idea to short this market at the hourly opening. Then with the next 5-minute candle, we closed back below the VWAP again. And then we had a small opening gap to the downside right here and a beautiful bearish candle to the downside with a stochastic RSI crossover, giving me the signal for another short entry opportunity right here, this time with a 20 pip stop loss at the most recent swing high, going for a 40 pip take profit target right here, and it hit our risk to reward or our take profit target within 7 bars or 35 minutes, ending up at this day during the London Killzone a 3-hour work time basically, or a 3-hour period during London, and with a total net profit of 1%, and you can't complain about that. And that's just on one chart, and we will go over all the other charts as well. Alright guys, that's it for the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index. Now that we're done with the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index, we are heading over to the NASDAQ 100 chart, also presented by 8cap, and we saw something very similar right here. We've been consolidating above the VWAP, and at this 2 AM open we got our momentum shifting candle to the downside, followed with some more downside or short momentum. But we saw that here we did not get our crossover above the 50 level on our stochastic RSI, and at the time this candle closed, the stochastic RSI has already been oversold. Right here it already was at the value of 3. So we are not looking for shorts in this case on this chart at 2 AM. we saw our breakout to the downside. We pulled back to the VWAP, consolidated with 1, 2, 3, 4 doji candles. On the fourth candle, we actually got our stochastic RSI crossover just 5 minutes ahead basically of the 3 a.m. new hourly candle and 3 a.m. London open. So what did I do? I placed my entry trade right here, my market entry order, and I placed my stop loss at the current high of the session. And lucky, it played out very well. We had our drop to the downside and it hit my 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio target within 10 minutes. A very easy trade, and I was looking forward to do the same thing on the US30 chart, but this chart here on NASDAQ 100 actually gave me an entry opportunity 5 minutes ahead of the news candle, or not the news candle, but the market open candle right here at 3 a.m. Of course, it would have been also very easy for me to get stopped out, but I was aware of the risk and I took this completely valid signal. Then we continued further to the downside. We had a small pullback. The RSI, the stochastic RSI, also pulled back, and we had another bearish crossover right here at the 3:40 a.m. candle during the London Killzone. So I placed my stop loss at the most recent swing high, but unfortunately I got stopped out with the spread I have on NASDAQ 100 right here at the high of this candle, making this a losing trade. So we had a 2% profit right here at market open, and we lost 1% right here, ending up at a net profit of plus 1%. But we also see this as a pullback opportunity, and the stochastic RSI continued to go above the 80 level, crossed over bearish on this candle close right here at 4:10. Also the last hour in our 3-hour timing window right here. Beautiful wick to the upside, doji, and an indirect bearish engulfing candle, engulfing the most recent 2 bullish candles right here, this candle. So I entered the short position, placed my stop loss at the most recent swing high for a 9.5 pips stop loss, but unfortunately it didn't hit my take profit target. It was just, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 pips shy of hitting it. So I have been stopped out at break even right here at 5:10 with the new hour. And here we can see the difference to the US30 chart. On NASDAQ 100, starting from here with that new hour at 5 a.m. New York local time, we pulled back, forming a new high of the day, which we did not do on US30. On US30, we're still hovering somewhere around this level, even with the New York Killzone right here. But remember, today is a US bank holiday, so we are not interested in trading this New York session. Now we also have a look at the German 30, the DAX index right here, also on a 5-minute time frame, and we saw that we had way cleaner price movement. During the London Killzone, we did not get faked out with a massive bullish run like we saw on the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index right here. We had our breakout to the downside. We pulled back above the VWAP. The Scalper Pro stayed bearish for this entire move to the downside. So we had our pullback. We got a beautiful bearish engulfing candle right here, also 5 minutes prior to the London opening. We had our bearish stochastic RSI crossover on this candle, but I did not feel entirely sure about this trade because we also did not close below the VWAP. So I waited for one more candle, and I got my entry right here at 255 with a 15 pip stop loss on the German 30 DAX index for a beautiful 15-minute take profit trade with a 2% profit to risk to reward ratio. Then we continued and we moved sideways basically. We can't consider this a pullback because we got really close to the VWAP, or the VWAP got a little bit closer to us. So we had our pullback, moved further to the downside, and we got our stochastic RSI crossover right here on this candle. So I placed my stop loss at 25 pips at the most recent swing high here, also perfectly matching up with the VWAP here, going for a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, which would have been hit within 55 minutes, so less than 1 hour. We had our second winning trade here on the German 30 DAX index, and this is already the end of the London Killzone right here. We did not get another entry opportunity short on the German 30. ending up with a total net profit of plus 4% on the German 30 DAX index. So let's move over to the commodities. Now we're going to be looking at the gold chart right here, also on a 5-minute time frame based on the 8-cap broker that I'm using. And we got also an entry opportunity right here at 2 AM New York local time with a close below the VWAP, a bearish Scalper Pro right here, depending on the candle color right here. And one candle prior to that, we got our bearish stochastic RSI crossover. So after all, a valid entry opportunity, but also a simple fake out here at the London Killzone Open, where we lost 1% or whatever the amount you are going to risk per trade right here, placing my stop loss at the most recent swing high, but we have been taken out after just 10 minutes. And also giving us a new long entry opportunity right here with the stochastic RSI crossover, placing my stop loss this time at the VWAP, so my take profit target isn't too far away here. We hit the 1 to 1.5 risk to reward ratio, this gray dotted line right here, but unfortunately we did not make it up to our 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio, making this trade a break-even trade. Then we continued further to the downside, but it did not offer us any entry opportunities, forming a new low of the session, not a low of the day, just a low of the session. And we immediately pulled back above the VWAP. So we had our breakout, pull back, and another close below the VWAP right here. Our stochastic RSI has not been oversold yet, so a valid entry opportunity with our crossover signal 1, 2, 3, 4 candles ago. I'd still consider it valid because price hasn't moved too far into the short direction right here. We just made our first close below the VWAP on this candle, so I would have still taken a trade, and it goes down into our trading stats for this week. And so far on the gold spot US dollar chart, we are looking at a net profit of minus 2%. Alright, let's continue. If we have a look at the spot WTI crude oil chart, also 5-minute time frame on 8-cap, we saw that we got another entry opportunity long at 2:10 AM early in the London Killzone. I placed my stop loss at the most recent swing low right here, and we hit a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio very quickly here at 3 AM, the London Open. We had a nice shootout to the top with a wick to the upside and continued pulling back. So we had our breakout, pull back to the VWAP right here, and right here we got a new stochastic RSI crossover, so I anticipated a long move to the upside, also going for a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio. But unfortunately this trade did not play out, and our stop loss was triggered at 435 with another pullback, this time below the VWAP. But immediately 5 minutes afterwards we closed again above the VWAP, and on our third candle after we received the crossover right here on this candle, no, that's actually the second candle after our crossover right here at 4:40 AM New York local time, we had another bullish candle based on a Scalper Pro. The stochastic RSI just made its cross up above the 20 level again, so this would have been a valid trade entry right here with our stop loss at the most recent swing low. But obviously price did not continue into our direction, and we had another losing trade, so making this an overall very choppy London Killzone. But it's also a US bank holiday, so I'm not expecting too much. And on spot WTI crude oil, we ended up with a net profit of 0% for the day. And just for the record here, during the New York Killzone, I know it's a bank holiday, we had a beautiful entry opportunity right here at 8:05, 5 minutes after the new hourly candle. We had a beautiful break above the VWAP, pull back, and with a beautiful bounce off this VWAP right here. So we formed our high, we pulled back, continued going up higher, and let's see if our 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio would have been hit. Yes. So a very beautiful trade, but because it's US bank holiday today, we are not going to count in this trade. But it's just for the record, because it's a very beautiful trade opportunity with this pullback to the VWAP and a continuation movement to the upside. Let's move on and have a look at our currencies. So on the Australian dollar US dollar pair right here, we got an entry opportunity 5 minutes after the open. We got a beautiful bullish engulfing candle with a close above the VWAP, and we also switched colors from bearish to bullish on the Scalper Pro right here. We also got a beautiful bullish crossover below the 20 level. So I took this as an entry opportunity. For a stop loss method to give me a little bit more breathing room, I was using the ATR with these specific settings right here. And this trade played out very nicely and hit our 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, I think 5 minutes before the London Open, so a 15-minute trade, and we hit our take profit target very easy and clean. And then after the open, we had a beautiful wick to the upside, so sellers started to step into this market and start selling. Price continued moving lower, forming a new low of the session. Immediately, like most of the other charts, pulled back, but without giving us any entry opportunities for the rest of the day, making this a total day with only one trade, one win, and a net profit of 2%. The New York session actually showed some momentum compared to the indices, but overall we also did not get an entry up until right now, and we will see how this trade is going to play out, but we are not going to be trading the New York Killzone during the US bank holiday today. Very similar to the price action that we saw on the Australian dollar US dollar Forex pair. Now we're looking at the Euro US dollar Forex pair. So this time we got an entry at 2 AM, so not exactly at 2:05, but already at 2 AM. We had our bullish crossover right here on the stochastic RSI, 5 minutes ahead of the London Open at 2 AM. So bullish engulfing candle, nice little wick to the downside. I entered at the close of this candle above the VWAP, bullish Scalper Pro candle color, and again I have been using the ATR bands with the same settings for my stop loss to give it some room to breathe, and it hit our 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio by 2:30, making this a 30-minute trade for our take profit to be hit. We continued further to the upside, and then we consolidated for a little throughout the new London Open right here at 3 AM New York local time. With the next 5-minute candle, we had a beautiful wick to the upside, where sellers started to push price back down lower, forming a nice pin bar for a continuation move further to the downside. We got a new stochastic RSI crossover right here at 320, and I anticipated a breakout, pullback, continuation move here, even though we saw those big wicks to the upside. So I took this trade, I placed my stop loss at the VWAP, but unfortunately I've been taken out rather quickly after just 5 minutes. So we continued further to the downside without any signal right here on the stochastic RSI. Therefore we would have needed a bearish crossover above the 50 level. We did not get that. So we continued further to the downside, forming a new low of the session right here. That's a new low for the session. We pulled back, the Scalper Pro changed its color to green, close above the VWAP, and then we got this beautiful indirect bearish engulfing candle, taking out this most recent super bullish candle right here. It's not super bullish, but it's a decently bullish candle compared to all the other ones right here. So with our breakout, pullback, bearish engulfing candle, stochastic RSI crossover, a Scalper Pro candle color close below the VWAP, I placed my entry right here, and my stop loss was right at this swing high, because in my mind, if I place my stop loss, I want to be taken out once the idea has been invalidated. And I want to keep my stop loss rather small, because this also means that my take profit target isn't that far away. So in this case, I decided to not place my stop loss at the high of those wicks, because once this bearish engulfing candle is going to be taken out, I don't even want to be in this trade. So it wouldn't make any difference if I place my stop loss on this closing high right here or up here. The only difference it would make is that my take profit target would be even further away now. So I place my stop loss right here, and we can also check the ATR. I think the ATR was even down lower, so I decided to place my stop loss at the most recent swing high according to the candle close, or the body close right here. Same goes for the second trade entry right here. We also had our ATR perfectly matching up with the VWAP. And this ends up, or basically nets, a total of 3% for the day on the Euro US dollar chart right here, with 2 winning trades and 1 losing trade for the session. The The last chart we are going to be looking at today is the British pound US dollar, also on a 5-minute time frame. And here on the British pound US dollar, we got our entry at 2.15 compared to the Euro US dollar chart where we got our entry at exactly at 2 a.m. And on the Australian US dollar pair, we got our entry at 10 minutes past 2 a.m. So we had enough time between all the different currencies to actually execute our entry, place our stop, and take profit target. So no entries at the same time for you to make it easier. We got our entry right here with this beautiful bullish candle close above the VWAP. The stochastic RSI at this time has not reached the overbought level, so I decided to take this trade and I placed my stop loss based on the ATR because I did not want to place my stop loss all the way down here. Didn't make a lot of sense to me. After this beautiful bullish move to the upside, we retested the VWAP and continued even further to the upside to hit our 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Right here we have the ATR level, that's where I placed my stop loss. Alright, then we had some indecision right here with both wicks to the up and downside until we reached the London Open basically right here. That's where all the wicks come from. We consolidated and I got a long entry opportunity right here at 3.20. Very similar to what we saw in Euro US dollar and Aussie US dollar. That second trade turned out to be a losing trade. I considered this as a pullback that might have filled in one of those two imbalances right here or fair value gaps for a possible continuation move to the upside, but the idea didn't play out and I lost 1% on this trade. We continued dropping even further, forming a new low of the session, and then we pulled back, filling in some of those inefficiencies right here. Also, we pulled back on the stochastic RSI and we got a crossover right here at 4:20 a.m. New York local time. Bounced off the VWAP with an entry right here. Again, going for the close right here, the body close for my stop loss placement right here. We can also check the ATR. The ATR would have almost matched up with the VWAP. So if I would have went for the stop loss right here, this trade could have actually been a winning trade because it did not hit a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So no matter what stop loss method I would have been using, this trade wouldn't have played out. And now you might be asking, okay, but what should I use for a stop loss? The ATR is a great way to place your stop loss. It's a universal way, but for me, for my liking, I like to have a little bit of breathing room where I want to place my stop loss. So there are 3 different methods. You can either use the most recent swing high, which sometimes makes it difficult because of those wicks right here. And if you increase your stop loss by, let's say, for example, 2 or 3 pips, and you're using a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio, this means your take profit target is now going to be twice as much or twice as far away than it was before. So I prefer to keep my stop small, and I always think about it like this. So once we breach this level right here, the body's high, my idea has already been invalidated. So there's no point in giving it even more room here to the upside, which in the end of the day means that my take profit target is also going to be further away. So that's why I placed my stop loss right here at the body close high, and it continued moving to the downside, hit a 1-to-1.5 risk to reward ratio. So we moved our stop loss to break even at this point, and we have been taken out right here at 5.35 for a break-even trade, ending up for the day with a total net profit of 1%, plus 1% with 1 winning trade, 1 losing trade, and 1 break-even trade. Alright guys, that's it for today's trade recap. I hope you have learned something new on how you can improve your performance by using this strategy. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Alright guys, take care and trade safe. Enjoy the rest of the day with having the New York session off. And I will see you tomorrow on our Discord server where we are going to be trading live on the US30 pair and all the other pairs in a live stream or just in our live channel. Alright.